just added something new to my RODI water system down here downstairs. I got this 10-gallon Brute trash can, and I got some roller wheel casters to hold it, because the water gets pretty heavy, so I can easily roll it over to about 25 feet or so to my office, where the 20-gallon long tank is, whenever I have to change water. But what I was doing was just filling up, say, 3 to 4 gallons at a time in 5-gallon buckets using this RODI system, and then carrying it over, hoping I wouldn't splash it, over to the office room. Also, another problem was that you have to be constantly aware of how much of the bucket has filled with the RO water, because you don't want it to overflow and get all over your floor. So it was kind of, it's easy to forget that you have water being made because it goes very slowly, maybe 1 to 1.5 gallons per hour. So what I did was I got a 10-gallon trash can, which will give me more water to store, and I installed one of these float valves. And the way that works is, see, the water is coming into the bucket, into the trash can, and then this white thing is the float valve, and when the water reaches the height of where the float valve is, the float valve moves up, and then it stops the water flow when it rises up to the top. And so you don't have to worry about overflowing your trash can. The way it's hooked up is, just had to add a few things to my system here. And so the water goes through this solenoid or something. So I had to hook up this. The water comes from the water supply. That's where the faucet is. And it goes through this solenoid, and it goes up into the first sediment cartridge, and the water goes through the carbon cartridge and then into the membrane and into the deionization filter, where it finally does come out. Comes out the top, and then it goes through a check valve to make sure that the water doesn't siphon back up should the power go out or something. And then the water goes through the other in and out of the solenoid, and finally down the supply tube, not the supply tube, the filtered water tube, into the bucket, where it will stop flowing when the water has reached the level of this float valve. Here's how it works. Okay, pretend that the water has hit this float valve, and it pushes it up, and as you can see, the water flow is stopped. And when it's lower, the water is flowing. But once the water reaches, up here and touches that white float valve and pushes it up, it will stop the water there. It just stops the flow. Pretty nifty. So I'm checking it out today to make sure that everything works right. Also, this system is supposed to stop, as well as the supply water, it's supposed to also stop the wastewater through this, the way you hook everything up. So once the flow stops down here, it stops everything. So no more wastewater goes down and everything is stopped. So we'll see if it works. So it was pretty easy to set up. So we'll see. Right now I have, I don't know, maybe a couple of gallons or 1.5 gallons. It goes really slowly to purify the water. But I won't have to worry as much as before about possibly forgetting that I have water filling up. So far I've been lucky. I haven't overflowed. Upstairs is not a problem. I have a system, like that also upstairs, but no float valve. All I do is stick my bucket in the shower. And so if it does happen to overflow, which it almost did, well, I think it did a couple of times, no worries, because it'll just flow into the shower drain. So I don't have to worry as much, or at all really, if it does overflow. So today I'm testing this out to see if it indeed does stop everything once the water reaches that level. If so, this will be a good system. And then I have this bucket, so I'll probably be able to do about 9 gallons versus 5-gallon buckets that I was doing before at a time. But I bought this little caddy to fit this bucket, and I can easily just wheel it on over to the office, which is that far door, without having to carry anything. So hopefully this will make things easier. Okay, that's it. Bye-bye.